Oh, that's the wrong direction, isn't it? Hello. Just trying to get myself sorted. I hope you can hear me. I've got my chat here on a separate thing. If you can indeed hear me okay, please say the word cocktail. Don't say the word, but type the word. Hooray! Otto von Doom says cocktail. Oh, all this cocktail, huh? Hello, everyone. How are we all? Welcome to Customizing Live. Sorry, just trying to get the right angle and stuff going on. Hopefully this is all right. Welcome back to Customizing Live, rather. It's been a while. The last time I did one of these, I was working on Kang the Conqueror. He's now done and dusted, and travelling through the time stream, conquering your gran. Yeah, what I'm going to be doing today is working on this guy here, Dr. Otto Octavius. This is the new Doc Ock figure from the Spider Build-A-Figure wave. He's actually one of my favourite Hasbro... Oh, I've got wind. Excuse me. How revolting. He's actually one of my favourite Hasbro Marvel Legends figures. Go check out my review of him if you want to know what I think of him more. But yeah, the big disappointment for me, and I think for everyone, were his tentacles, which while they bend a little, they don't hold any position, and they're in an awkward... They're sort of sculpted awkward, you know, sort of pointing up that way. I'm not sure. Are they supposed to hold Spider-Man up or something? I'm not too sure. But anyway, what I'm going to be working on is giving Doc Ock an upgrade to give him better tentacles. In my review, I showed that you could actually use the tentacles from the Marvel Legends old Dr. Octopus, these wonderful tentacles here, you could use on him, and they work perfectly well. But I'm going to be making my own, and I've already... Here's one I prepared earlier. So you'll see I'm using it's a metal cable that's poseable, slots into his back, and and his hair falls off. I'll show you a little bit more about that. Come on, keep your toupee on, Otto. And also I'm putting better pincers on him. There's a wonderful action figure customizer called Action Figure Toronto, and he made a completely original Dr. Octopus custom figure, and he God, Otto, keep your hair on. And he used this kind of method, using these kind of cables, and I'm going to be copying that essentially, and we'll see how this works out. It's a little... While it doesn't involve a lot of sculpting or sort of artistic ability, it is quite a difficult thing to do, to replace these. It's by no means... this is not a how-to video. It's yeah, it's you know, there's a lot of problem solving and things. This is sort of customizing at its best, problem solving, dealing with things going wrong, trying to figure things out on the fly. But anyway, the reason his hair keeps falling off is because I have actually repainted his head somewhat. So I've taken the glasses off and repainted it. And also I've added sort of just a highlight to the piping on his suit. and repainted the yellow around there because that also had a highlighted piping on it. But really beyond that, I've not done much more to him. I levered his hair off to do that and repainted the hair and the glasses as well. So yeah, I've done a little bit of other sort of upgrades to him just with paint. And but we're going to mainly be working. Furking is on my XTube channel. Working on the tentacles. So what I'm going to be using for these tentacles and what I've used for this one is this kind of thing. It's a it's an poseable LED USB light, and we're just going to be using this bit. They come in, you know, this was the cheapest. I just searched them on eBay and just picked up 4 of the cheapest ones I could find, and they come in all different, you know, shapes and sizes really, with different ends on them, and really it's getting these sort of ends off it that can prove challenging sometimes, but we'll give that a go. So we're going to be taking off most of the USB thing. I'm going to be keeping some of the plastic on because I want to use that plastic to glue into the slot in his back. It's difficult to glue metal, so I'm going to be trying to keep some of the plastic here, so I can glue that in. I'm going to be removing all of this and attaching a claw. And the claws, I was thinking about using the claws off of this guy in the background here, but I really, you know, this is one of my all-time favorite Marvel Legends, so I just couldn't bring myself to butcher this guy just to make a sort of better one. So I went on eBay again and found this one of the Dr. Octopus figures from the Spider-Man 2 movie, and he has he also has like great tentacles. These are really nice, you know, back in the Toy Biz days, and they have these pincers on the end, and that's what I've used over here. So I'm going to be using those. This guy, actually, the movie Dr. Octopus, he has his upper 2 tentacles have these kind of claw kind of things, and the lower 2 tentacles have these sort of more grabbing. They're much longer. So there's a variation, and really I want him to have 4 sets of these. So I've actually found another Dr. Octopus figure that has these tentacles, so I've ordered that and he should arrive sometime next week, and I'll be able to slot those on, but I can use these in the meantime. Righty, so we're going to get down to it. This thing is rubbish. Yeah. That's the end of that, but the tentacles are wonderful. So let me catch up on the chat before I get down to it. I'm going to, first thing first is to try and get the tentacle to look right, to be separated out from the shite. And let me catch up on the chat. Tac Custom says, I hope we get an official Kang the Conqueror at SDCC. Yeah, I guess so. I don't care, I've got mine. Aster Productions says, good afternoon. Thank you, good Aster. Good to see you. Joker86 says, hey man, how you been? I'm fine, thank you. Otto Von Doom says, well, it's a good thing that the Toy Biz arms are interchangeable with the new ones, but it's cool to see what other things you can do with customizing, indeed. And then Aster's laughing at Doc Ock's toupee. Glacius X2 says, are the tentacles made from USB lights or is it some other material? The former. Otto Von Doom says, you couldn't get another classic Toy Biz ML Doc Ock. Lol. Is that a question? No, I couldn't. They're very rare now. And also this he has, his tentacles have these kind of a ball thing on the end, which I wasn't too keen on. so I'm going to go with these guys. Joe Craig, sexy, hey. Scott SA, hey Craig, love the videos, keep it up. Thank you, Scott SA. Kirk Holland, hello Craig, hello Kirk. LJ85, is your airbrush machine loud when you use it? You can probably go and watch some of my old customizing live videos and find out for yourself. Tac Custom says your can, Craig, was absolutely stunning. Thank you very much. But Mr. Midnight says, I am so tired, I feel like I'm going to die. Well, you should go to sleep then. Faded Unicorn 777 says, which female base body do you feel is the best out of all the Marvel figures? I'm not sure. I'm not really thinking about that right now, but I'll keep it in the back of my mind, see if I can come up with something. Ramwork says, I ended up using the claws he came with already. I saw the Spider-Man 2 Doc Ock, but I didn't think his claws were movable. Oh well. Yeah, I've seen some people use the USB lights with these claws, but they're not, you know, they're not poseable. So if you're going to upgrade them, you know, go that little bit extra. Right, okay, let's get on with this. People are distracting me with, what's your favourite Marvel Legend? What's this? What would you like to see at SDCC? I don't know. Okay, so I'm going to be taking off the USB part. Now this is... you see? I can't really remember how I did the other claw, to be honest. I was watching movies at the same time, so I'm just going to be making a mess, really, let's face it. Why don't I just cut right to the chase and get this glass of water out of the way, so I stop tinkling along. Get rid of that, no need for that. So I'm now gonna, I've got this plastic bit here and there's also some plastic gubbins going on inside, so I'm just gonna try and snip the tentacle right up there. It's recommended you, if you're working with metal, wear safety goggles, because it can ping off in directions you do not expect. Now, what I found when I tried the other tentacle as well was that there's quite a tough metal rod that goes up the inside of this, and it becomes a problem when you try to cut through it, because despite having strength of the bear, I can't quite get through that with this tool. So I have a cutting disc. I have a cutting disc for my Dremel, and I'm going to take this off camera because obviously when you cut metal there's a lot of sparks come flying off it, and I don't want that damaging my phone or, you know, setting anything on my surface alight. If you've got another solution, go for it, do it yourself, but this is what I'm doing. So and sometimes working with metal things can get quite hot as well, so I just got a little mug of water here that I'm just dipping things in. There we are. That's me got that end sorted. I just want to show you here. You can see that's going to be going inside his back. And eventually I'll paint that silver as well, but now let's try and get this other end off. This other end is also a bit of a problem. It's got a kind of like a metal, this black bit is a thin metal, and then inside it has a more of a hard plastic. But we want all of that off. We don't want to leave any plastic around the top, so these nippers that I'm using are I think they're called side cutters or something. That I think they're really for taking model parts off of sprues. Like if you get a Gundam model or, you know, an airplane model, they come, you know, all the parts come connected together on the sprues, and these are for snipping them off. But obviously abusing them in ways they're not meant to be used here. Hey, that's how I customize. Use what I've got. Get creative with solutions. I'm sorry if I'm sort of ignoring the chat at the moment, but obviously working with sharp materials and tools, I have to be vigilant of what I'm up to. One of my friends was saying, you know what, Craig, you should make it so that like there's a light in the end of the tentacles, and use the wiring that goes up there, and use an LED and something, and have a power coming in here, and then it can like have that light at the end of the thing. That would be awesome. It's slightly beyond me. Doing batteries and stuff is so challenging in figures, but if anyone can work that out and wants to advance what I'm doing to the next level, please do go ahead and do so. Not something I have the capability to do. So I'm just trying to remove I'm just snipping away at the white plastic that's at the end. Like I said, this is not a... What you do is you just take one of these cables and you take the ends off and you glue it in the back. It's, those are the steps to doing it, but my God, it's a little bit more finicky than the concept describes. Sorry if you can't really see this, I do apologise. I could move my camera, couldn't I? So what we're looking for is for that, you know, that split eventually where it loosens its grasp on the end of the thing, and hopefully it can be pried off. Oh, there we go. Righty. Hurrah! So there we have. That's what I'm after. If I could find these for sale, great. I wouldn't have to bother with that. Now the metal has come sort of unspiraled a bit at the end, but I'm just gonna snip that off. And the plastic sort of, see the wire with the sort of plastic coating on it, that is actually quite useful when it comes to gluing the pincer. You know, it's useful to have other plastic in there for the pincer to bond with. So there's a bit of tidying up to be done there. But that is essentially the preparation of the tentacle part. I'm just going to swipe this into the bin. Make sure I've got all the little bits of sharp metal. Okay. So the next thing I want to be doing is I want to make a hole for this to go into. So I'm going to be using my Dremel and just working out this part of Ock. And I think what I'll do is I will actually separate the upper torso. Doc Ock has a rocker torso, which works like there's essentially just a peg and a socket in there. So what we want to do is heat this upper torso up enough that we can then separate his torso. So it's like separating a female Marvel Legends torso. A lot of the male Marvel Legends, separating their torsos is much more tricky because it involves like cracking the torso. But I'm just using a heat gun here, just trying to heat up the plastic. That's not super hot, but popped apart easy enough when I just applied some force to it. And then we have Doc Ock separated. So under here, what we're going to be doing is we're going to be dremeling out this piece. So what you want to be careful is you don't want to dremel so far that you come through on the underside here, because then that will sort of affect his articulation. You can see, I don't know if you can see, you see that there's just a slight divot there, slight divot. So that's me sort of dremeling all the way through, and just there's such a small slight film of plastic over there, but that's really the limit of what you want So there, I'm going to be dremeling out that part. And then I haven't done any on the bottom half yet, but just looking at the articulation inside his lower body, it looks like I've got a lot of room to work with there. So I can dremel in there and it shouldn't get in the way of his articulation at all. So that should be fine. Dremel. So I need to change my Dremel bit. So away with the cutting disc. Actually, while it's here, I can maybe trim down this. I'll do it off camera again. So what I was doing there was just smoothing the end of this out a bit, cooling it down in the water. Righty, sorry, I was going to Dremel out this. I'm going to be using this. This is the standard drill bit that comes with most Dremels. Just going to be using that. Don't know what it's called, but that's what I'm using. Tripod is kind of in the way of my Dremel. It's frustrating. It's all you guys' fault. I've kind of... No. Let me try and clean this up a bit so I can get a better view of what has been and has not been Dremeled away. There's a lot more to take out there. Probably. There we go. So that's starting to go in there. Needs to be deeper, but yeah, deeper and wider. Oh god. So that needs to go in there, but you can see that's starting to take shape. Let's keep going. Sorry for the inevitable Dremel noise, but there we are. I'm going to actually change my Dremel bit and make this white bit a bit thinner. See if that helps me get it in. I can't remember. I should have paid more attention to what I did with the first tentacle, really. Seeing as how my plan was to replicate that live. Yeah, that's a good fit in there. So what I'll be doing is I will be gluing that in there, and that will hold it tight like this guy. But first of all, what I want to work on while it is free and I have more mobility is getting the claw in that end. So let me just move my Dremel back to where it belongs. And again. Okay. Right, so I'm going to be working on the tentacles next, so I do want to try and catch up on the chat. So this is what I'm going to be working on next, apart from spilling my water. Now, I've probably missed tons. Okay. Okay, so Faded Unicorn asked, which female base body do you feel is the best out of all Marvel figures? I don't feel they've really come across a really good one yet. So I'm not sure. Like if I'm making a female figure, I tend to, like when I made Spiral. Oh, do we want to see Spiral? while we talk about female bodies. So when I made Spiral, I did a lot of work around her hips to give her better movement around there, and also gave her all double jointed elbows, and did a lot of work in her, everything falls down in my display behind me, to give her more movement in her torso. So they haven't quite hit a great female figure yet, but the parts are all there. A lot of these elbows were taken from older Toy Biz figures, or even like old Toy Biz Spider-Man figures, because he has very slender arms. So I don't feel they've hit a good female body yet. So, you know, it's not so much which is the best, but pick your poison kind of thing. Tac Custom says, which character would you like to see as a Marvel Legends at SDCC? Dr. Doom. And the Super Skrull. Gladius X2 says, get wire cutters. Yes, good idea. Yes, I'm kind of ruining my side cutters. I don't care though. You know, I can get more of them. People are just talking about where can they get different types of tentacles. So Scott SS says, have you made a classic Vulture or plan to? No, I haven't. I have the Toy Biz one. He's good enough for me just now. Ramwork says he wants to see a new Marvel Legends Scorpion. Indeed, that would be good. Hopefully they can do something with his tail, because the lizard's tail was not great and Doc Ock's tentacles are disappointing. Tac Custom says, do you like the Angela Buck body mold, Craig? No, because it's on Angela. I have no affection for her. I don't. It's no better than the other female figures, so it's just whatever. Righty, so these guys, claws. Right, so the claws are great and they articulate here. The way this tentacle works is it's got a hard bit of plastic here that has a hoop on the end, and then the wire hoops through that, runs up here to another post that has a hoop in it, and the wire loops through that and goes back down. So what we want to preserve is we want to preserve the claw and the peg and socket and the peg that goes down there, because the peg is what's going to be squeezing in here, we hope. So this is soft rubber, so I'm just going to be cutting into it until my knife hits the wire and I feel that resistance. And there we go. So that's what I was talking about with that. Can you see it? Yes, in there. There's like a wire loop and it's looping through the plastic peg. So I want to just free the peg from that loop, and my knife should be able to do that. I could also use my side cutters for it, but hey, they've suffered enough. So I can't get a good angle at this. So we freed the peg from the wire. Try to pull the rubber part off of the claw now. Come on, you. Oh, instead of trying to pull it off, I can just make a nick down the side. And just take the jacket off. Get rid of that rubber. And there we have it. This is the that's the peg with the loop that the wire went through that loop and held it in place. But this is what we wanted to preserve. And this little peg is what I want to get in here. Let me just tidy up this metal a little. So I'm going to be cutting it just where the wide part stops. And I'm going to be, I want to, you know, that's quite full of wire at the moment. Let me see what I can do. Try and make a bit more space for it. With the last claw, what I actually did was heat and pull the claw off. But I don't think I really need to do that. That kind of made it difficult to judge how far it then should then go in for the claw to sit flush with the thing. So we want that to go in there. So I'm going to get my Dremel with a very small drill bit, and I'm going to try and, he said as he can't find the drill bit he needs. We just use this one. Glacius X2 asks, hey Craig, any tips for painting green over red and gold? Yeah, prime your figure first, and then paint on top of that. Green over red and gold. That's funny. What are you painting? Asta Production says, will you be repainting the claws? I believe I will. I'll talk about that in a little while once I've kind of done this. So I'm going to hide this again because the sparks are going to come flying. Oh, they didn't actually, so that was fine. That's essentially what we're going for. So I'm going to be gluing that in there. Now I'm just wondering whether I should use super glue or whether I should use a bit of epoxy resin. I think super glue gives me better control. We'll see if that works for us first of all. So with super glue, when you're working with it near articulated joints, you want to leave things about, I don't know, 5-10 seconds and then move them if you don't want the joint to be glued shut. So I'm feeling the resistance to the pull now, but trying to make sure that none of that swivel that I was after is lost. And that's the goal. Okay. So there we have it. Sir Bancroft asks, who do you think is the most underrated Spider-Man villain? Maybe Dr. Octopus, to be honest. He's never like the super badass villain, you know, and he's often overlooked for the completely terrible Green Goblin. Like if Green Goblin hadn't found out about Parker's identity, done the Gwen Stacy thing, like really there's nothing else between the Green Goblin and Spider-Man. They're kind of dull. But Octavius, I feel like Octavius and Spider-Man have a lot of things going on, so I always think of Dr. Octopus as Spider-Man's greatest villain, but I think he is often underrated in that respect, although, you know, he's still obviously seen to be one of his greatest villains. But I guess that's about it. I mean, my favorite, I think my favorite villain conceptually is Mysterio. I think the stories he's part of are good. They really get in about Spider-Man's head and his fears and all that. So I think they're quite, you know, good stories, but you know, he's, as an actual villain, he's a bit of a joke. But 90s Kid asks, hi Craig, do you have a paint tutorial? Sometimes I have problems with paint falling off. I think you're talking to Paint Rub. If you go and watch my video diaries, particularly I think the one in which I made Dormammu, I have an episode called Paint Rub and the Power of Epoxy or something, and I explain Paint Rub to you. Paint shouldn't fall off. So there we go. Glacius X2 is telling me about some Kamen Rider thing. You're speaking to the wrong audience. You might as well be telling me about a particular type of pipe used for plumbing. It's of that level of interest to me. But good luck with the customizing. Otto Von Doom says, uh-oh, loose pincer. Yes, all of these pincers are very loose, and that's something I will be tightening up. I've done some work with this one so that his pincers are much tighter. And that's really just using super glue. But okay, so I think the glue must have done its thing. That seems like it's going to work to me, and it articulates the way I want it to. So I think that's a success story. So I'll just show you with the pincer thing, which this one's the loosest. So we do want them to be a little bit tight because we're going to be, there's no point in making sort of articulated tentacles so that he can grab hold of things and whatever if he's just going to, you know, not be able to hold on to them with loose pincers. So I'm going to be tightening them up, and it tends to be that the upper joints seem to be quite fine, but these lower ones seem to be really loose for some reason. So what I do is I put a drop of super glue in there and I just work it back and forward, much the same as what I've done here. I'll push this. So I'll use the super glue and then I'll push that hinge together and hold it for like 10 seconds, then move it around and leave it for 10 seconds. So that's what I'm going to be doing. So I just put some super glue on the joint, let it try and seep it in, squeeze the joint together. Ramworks says he finds floor polish works well too. Yes, I've heard people say that floor polish works well. I've never tried it. This works for me. Tac Custom says, have you read Eric Larson's run of Spider-Man from the 90s, Revenge of the Sinister Six, that represent Doc Ock and other great villains? I did. That's where it is Doc Ock, Hobgoblin, Mysterio, Electro, Vulture, and the Sandman. But it's the Sandman when he was like a good guy, and he kind of turns the Sandman to glass and all that kind of thing. Try to take over a shuttle or something. Yes, I enjoyed that story. I've read here and there things of Eric Larson's run. He also did the Spider-Man versus Doctor Doom thing with the grey silver fox, the grey fox, which was interesting enough. Tran Viet Hong says, hi Craig, where could I find your tutorial about adding elbows double joints for action figures? Thanks mate. I haven't done one. I don't believe. You know, you cut the arm. You need a double jointed arm and you need to replace that. There's no great trick to it. You just need to make it work, you know. Glacius X2 says, by the way, I recently found a fantastic method for loose ball joints. You just take out the ball and put a little bit of plastic wrap on it. It's like a miracle fix, works way better than floor polish or glue. Interesting. Thank you for that tip. Otto von Doom asks, what was your opinion on Dead No More, the clone conspiracy? I really enjoyed it. Yeah, I really enjoyed it. Or the current clone Doc Ock. Well, I've not seen the current clone Doc Ock do much, but it's nice that the character's, you know, moving on. I like that advancement in the character through actual story means, rather than just he's suddenly something different. So, okay, so you see that takes a while. You just have to make sure that, you know, the glue is working its thing and not sticking your joint together. So there we have it. That's a much tighter joint than it was before. You know, compared to these that just flick around. You can see that that's tightened it up. So do that to all of them, and you'll be in. If I was feeling brave, I would have done it to all three and worked them all at the same time, but these claws are not easy to come by, so not going to push that. So that's essentially, I think, it for these. So I'll just be working that in there and gluing that in. What I want to do is just, there's a little bit of a raggedy surface on there, so I just want to clear that up before I slot it in. So yeah, let me there we go. Otto von Doom's. Oh wait, sorry, I skipped one. Javier Crespo Para says, have you ever thought of doing figures outside Marvel? I've done figures outside Marvel. Please check out my channel. I've done Ganon. And, you know, my secret Santas have been Pennywise and Crablante. So, you know, I'm by no means limited to Marvel. However, when I make figures for myself, I tend to stick to Marvel. So there we go. Now, I don't think I'm going to go and also do the other tentacles, because it's just going to be me doing the same thing 2 more times, and I'd rather it's kind of awkward for me to do that live on camera. I'd rather not worry about the camera angles and do it well. So I'm going to go and work on those, and then put up the finished thing on my Instagram, I guess, or perhaps do something here on follow up to this here on YouTube later. But Asta Productions asked me about the tentacles. Am I going to repaint them? Yes, I am. I've been thinking about using this chrome pen because he's quite right that, you know, that there is a jarring difference between the metal and the silver paint used there. So I was hoping to use this chrome pen to sort of lessen that. I have a feeling that this one has kind of worn out though. I have ordered in more, but haven't got them yet. So I was just going to hit, yeah, this one's, oh no, is there some left in there? It's not doing great. So what I'm going to do is be hitting the outside of the claws with the chrome pen. When I get one that works. Oh god, I just threw silver everywhere. There we go. Just splattered everywhere. So I'm going to be just try to lessen that. Blimmin' YouTube, huh? Is it back? Can you hear me now? Oh, for goodness sake. Right. Okay, sorry about that. I don't know what happened to the audio there. But essentially this was just me saying, yeah, this is, hopefully you can see what I'm trying to do here, and I'll not keep you much longer. To be honest, I'm thinking of winding this down now. So yeah, I might go hang out on Instagram now, so cause it's much less formal over there. I feel like I can be a bit sloppier and not have to worry about YouTube quality and all that sort of stuff. Not that I have a very high quality on YouTube, to be honest, but yeah, I don't want to just be repeating this a further 2 times when I think you've already got the drift of what I'm up to. So yeah, the Chrome pen lessens the obvious difference between the pincer and the tentacle. So yeah, I've made a hell of a mess with it though, trying to convey that with a bit of a busted pen. But yeah, so there we have it. That's what I'm kind of aiming for. Let me just reheat this. Just heating them up again. Just Javi Crespopara asks, the only way to make chrome colours is through ink? I don't know, that's how I do it. It can't be the only way to do it. I believe some other people, you can use like chrome powders and all that sort of stuff that like nail artists use, but the easiest and most controllable method for me is through those chrome pens. I don't tend to use chrome a lot in my customs because I'd rather create a sort of a paint effect. It's very unusual, I think, for something to be chrome. It's a very particular look, and you lose a lot of, I think, detail with it. For example, a Silver Surfer figure, while it may like look super shiny, um, you end up losing a lot of the detail in his face and that kind of thing. So it's not often a favourite look. I'd rather do some kind of silver with different silvers. Just going to be fixing his glasses in place. Okay. So there we have it. The idea is that eventually these will be able to support them. Once we get 4. Once you get 4, it'll be easier to balance, but or even 3. But you can see it's fully possible. He just needs another tentacle, doesn't he, to stop that sway. It's not going to happen with 2. Okay. Anyway, I'm going to go away and work on those. Thank you very much for joining me. I hope it's been some use to you in some way, whether you want to try this yourself or whether it's, you know, made you think that, geez, that's more work than I had thought it might be, or whether it's just been entertaining to see this sort of thing happen. I hope you've got something out of it. So yeah, thank you very much for joining me. Let me just catch up in the chat very quickly. There's people saying thank you. It's very kind of you. Otto Von Doom, how much lighter is the new figure compared to the old, like weight-wise? I don't know. Just mere grams of difference. I don't know. Or do you mean this with the metal tentacles compared to the... Anyway, whatever. It'll be mere grams of difference. Doesn't make a huge difference. Yeah, thank you very much, everyone. Thanks for joining me. I hope to see you next time, whatever that may be, whether it's a review, whether it's a 60-second showcase, whether it's more customizing. Hopefully it'll be over on my Instagram. If you want to come join out, hang out with me live, then please do so. I'll be working on this guy, and I hope to see you there. So until the next time, pour on the power. Bye-bye.